podcast. My name is Jessica, and I'm here with my husband Ryan. And today is a very special episode.
Is it?
Can you guess why, Ryan?
No.
Today is Ryan's 27th birthday.
Yeah. Oh gosh. You need copyrighted.
It's your birthday. We're gonna party like it's your birthday. And then I'm gonna pause the song because it says bad words.
Oh.
But yeah, happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you. I've been here for 27 whole years.
Yeah, 27 whole years.
That's just a voice in your head.
Oh my gosh. So Ryan, do you have any wise advice to give now that you're 27 years old?
Now that I'm a real boy.
So old and wise.
Advice. At least I can't be stereotyped as one of those people that started a podcast in their 30s.
Oh yeah. You're
Started
not a white guy in
before.
your 30s with a podcast.
Yeah.
You're
no.
a white guy in your late 20s with a podcast.
Okay, you can't say late. It's still a touchy subject. No.
Late 20s.
It hurts.
It's not
me.
even mid 20s. You're late 20s.
I'm kind of depressed about it.
Oh my gosh.
I need my quarter life crisis.
You've already had several quarter life crises.
Oh, have I?
Crises. Yes, you have.
Like when?
I remember, when was it? Like 23 or 24. You were like, I can't believe this is happening.
I can't believe.
And I was like, you're
time
not even
keeps
25
moving
yet.
Forward.
I just forget how old I am.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know.
I feel like
20 something.
Yeah, I feel like if people ask
The
me, I'd probably
years
be like,
blend together.
I'm just gonna forget for a long time. I'm 27, and then 28 will roll around.
And then before you know it, you're 30, and your life is over.
30,
No.
flirty, and thriving.
30,
is
flirty,
all
and
I have to say.
Yes. Oh, can I tell them about something that happened to you, like, what was it, like 40 minutes ago?
What happened 40 minutes ago? Dude, I can't even remember.
So, Ryan was sitting on the couch while I was putting the kids to bed. And he was watching YouTube on his iPad. And he coughed. And apparently a piece of phlegm jumped out of his lungs, landed on the screen, and changed the video. On the touch screen.
Why would you share that? It's so weird.
Because it's your birthday and they
was
needed
an
to know
accident.
something
It was
special about you, and that was just a special little
It's
fact.
it's actually a superpower. I don't know if you guys know.
That was great.
I am sick on my birthday though.
What are the
which
odds
kinda
of that
sucks.
happening?
Pretty high considering
it.
you got a screen in front of your face and you're coughing.
I mean, it's never happened to me.
Well, you're not 27 yet.
Oh, okay. I'm just not there yet. My time will come.
Yep.
Well, yeah. Any other thoughts? Any other comments, concerns, reflections about any
being-
previous episodes? Because I always feel like we jump on here, and then when we're done, I always have thoughts going through my head of what we just talked about. And I'm always like, oh, I remembered this thing, or oh, I wanted to say this.
I don't know if I have any like really big things. I'm not sure like how well we come across. Like everyone that I talk to is like, oh yeah, you know, it's great, but we haven't gotten like feedback.
Oh,
which,
like constructive criticism.
I mean, if you want to call
Everyone's too afraid to say what they're thinking.
They're like, you guys are
You
weird.
guys suck. No.
Not even like constructive or whatever you said, criticism. Constructive.
Keegan's given me constructive
he?
criticism. You want to know what it is?
Yeah.
He goes, when you guys say your podcast, it just gets stuck in my head and then I can't get it out. And I was like, I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do about that.
Well, that's what happens when your head's hollow.
Oh, Ryan.
Just kidding.
He's like, you guys are just talking. And I'm like, yes, that is what a podcast is.
That's basically what we do all day, too. So
We would be doing it anyway right now.
Yes.
But now we're just pressing record. So there
and
you
we're
go.
forcing everyone else to listen to us.
Well, we're not forcing them to. They freely choose, which
Freely.
says way more about them than it does us.
That's true. We have to listen to each other anyways. We just record it for the rest of you.
But yeah, did you have any reflective thoughts about
reflective
previous
thoughts.
episodes? Because yeah, just wanted to give you that opportunity.
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't. Jess goes back and listens to them. I don't. I'm just like, nope. It's done. It's out there.
That's funny.
I'm not gonna go back and reflect on it. But I don't know. It sounds like you have something in mind.
Oh, when we were talking about music
Mm-hmm.
and worship, and you said, what are the what are the guidelines for proper worship? And literally right after we stopped recording, that verse popped into my head: spirit and truth.
Mm-hmm.
The Father is seeking those who will worship him in spirit and in truth. And I was like, there you go. There's the standard right there. I just couldn't come up with it in the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, that happens to me all the time. After the fact, I'm like, oh, that would have been great to remember in the moment.
Yeah. I don't know. I think a lot of times, I don't know. I remember most of my grand ideas come like a week after the moment.
Mm-hmm. A week.
Yeah, like at
That's
least
a little
week.
delayed.
I'm pretty slow in the uptake in that department, but like, I don't know. At the same time, I always wonder, like, if it wasn't said then, did it really need to be said?
Yeah.
Not like for a podcast. I'm talking about just like regular conversation
Just in
with
real
people.
life.
Yeah, for a podcast, obviously, it's like, oh, that would have been great for the show or whatever you want to call this. But in general, like conversation, though, it's like, you know, when things don't come up or you don't think of things, I always wonder if it's like for a reason why you couldn't think of it or it didn't come to your mind.
Yeah.
But
Today, we're going to be talking about aliens.
aliens. To be clear, we did a whole nother podcast, but it was terrible, so we just cut. We're doing a different topic now.
Yeah, we didn't like our last topic. So
Yeah.
today's topic is going to be aliens.
All right.
This
Do you
is
think
one of my
aliens-
favorite subjects.
Do you think aliens exist? We'll answer at the same time on the count of 3.
I have a feeling we're going to have the same answer.
1, 2, 3.
No.
Yes.
Ryan! Don't even try to tell me you believe aliens exist.
Yeah, I just don't think they're what you think they are.
Oh, I guess it depends on your definition of alien, huh?
Yeah, because they're alien. Get it?
Well, if your definition of alien is just a form of life that exists on another planet, then my answer is maybe.
On another
It's highly
planet?
possible.
Wait, what do you mean?
If we find some sort of plant on another planet, that could be considered an alien. It's not
Well, it
what I
definitely would be.
immediately think of when I think of alien.
What do you think of when you think of an alien? Like green
like
people?
like a humanoid creature from another planet.
Interesting.
Well, okay, admit it. That's what you think too when you think alien.
No.
You don't think some microbe on Mars or something.
Well, no. Yeah, I don't know. I forgot where we're going with this. What I think aliens are, they don't exist in like the. At
No
least I
little
don't
green
think
men.
they exist in the way that I think they exist. That most people think they exist. But I think aliens maybe like people perceiving things that normally are hidden to our eyes.
Wait, what?
Like the spiritual realm.
Oh, well, that's not an alien, Ryan.
I know, but like, is it though? It's like another being from a different plane of existence. Most people would qualify that as an alien, is all I'm saying.
Well, yeah, and that's why I said it depends on your definition of an alien, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I would say an alien is a life form of this dimension, just from a different planet.
Oh, okay. So no.
But if
And
you're
then
talking
I changed
about
my answer to no.
if you're talking about an interdimensional being, I don't think I would consider that an alien, although probably a lot of people would.
Yeah. I don't know. What's the Google the definition of alien?
That would probably be a good starting point. I'm pretty sure I'm right on this. Let's see. Belonging to a foreign country or nation. No, not that one.
Wrong definition, Jess.
Not familiar or like other things you have known. Also not that one.
I mean, my
extraterrestrial life. Hypothetical life forms that may be living in places other than the planet Earth and which did not originate on Earth.
Well, there you go.
Technically, that could be a being from another dimension.
Boom. So my answer is yes.
Oh my gosh, this
Final
changes
answer.
everything.
Yeah, there are aliens.
But they're not what you think. No. Why does this topic interest you? Because you also agree to this topic.
Oh, about the aliens?
Yeah. So what is like your history with this subject?
Okay. So I have a theory, right? It's a big theory. But I think that, well, it's not really a theory. I don't know. It's just a thought. But people are always like looking for signs of life on other planets. And for what reason are they searching so hard, right? Because they want to find meaning to what the scientific community has been pushing as how life originates, right? So if life originates in the way that science says it does from a single ancestor, and then evolution takes place and we branch out into all these different things,
then where
then
did
that
that
should happen on
original thing come from?
Well, sure, but there should also be other examples of it.
Oh, I see.
If this planet isn't special, and this is a natural event that happens all over the place, then where's all the other people? You know what I mean? Or other organisms.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like a crusade of finding answers on these other planets, and I'm pretty sure like that's the basis for a lot of the money being spent on space exploration.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
And so obviously for technological gain and resources and whatnot, but like if we're alone in the universe, that has greater implications than what the scientific community believes right now, which they don't believe we're alone in the universe, even though there's no evidence.
I know a lot of
contrary.
people who say they're atheists that don't believe in life on other planets.
Interesting.
And I don't know why.
Are they nihilistic? Like they're just like...
Yes, interestingly enough.
So they just think that it's an accident, basically.
Cosmic accident, yeah.
Yeah, and this is the only one.
I always thought, because you know how in Star Wars there's all kinds of different life forms, species and stuff. And I remember watching that movie as a kid and thinking, why isn't the world like that? Like, why is there just humans? Why aren't there other like humanoid creatures coming to and from our planet, visiting us visiting them?
Nothing else has evolved either.
Yeah. And all the other animals, we can't connect with them in the same way we connect with each other.
Yeah.
I remember when Keegan asked me kind of a similar question a couple months ago. I was like, oh, I have the answer to that. It's because humans are made in the image of God and animals aren't.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like kind of like it was a good moment for me to be able to be like, oh, I have the biblical answer for that. Yeah. It was nice. Mm-hmm. I realized that I had the answer to the question I had when I was young. Excuse you.
Yeah, I'm sick. So, but
can I give you a little bit of my history with aliens. The
Aliens.
subject, not personal experiences.
Every time I say
I've
the
never
word
had
aliens,
an alien encounter.
I just see that guy from Ancient Aliens.
Aliens.
Mm-hmm.
I had this weird fascination with aliens as like a middle schooler, kind of. And I remember checking out a book about alien encounters, like firsthand accounts of like people who said that they had been visited by extraterrestrials. And I remember it was very strange because I remember reading that book and feeling very scared whenever I read it.
Oh, made you fearful.
Oh, yes.
Interesting.
It caused a lot of fear. But I was also like morbidly curious. It was a very now that I think about it, it was a deeply negative spiritual experience. Not that anything happened, but it was like my introduction to the occult almost. I had this deep sense that I knew my fascination with this subject was crossing a line. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. And, you know, nothing happened because of it. I eventually, you know, returned the library book. But there was this one account that I thought was really interesting. I won't tell the whole thing, but at the end, the woman claimed that she had, like, used the name of Jesus or something to, like, tell them to leave these aliens. And they did. And, like, something just clicked in my brain. I was like, oh, this is demonic.
Yeah.
This whole thing. Like, I'd never really considered the fact before as a kid that every being, like, has to obey God. You know? And if God commanded an alien to leave, he would have to leave. Or that thing would have to leave.
Yeah, demon or otherwise.
Yeah, and it just seemed, I don't know. Even at an early age, I picked up on the fact that it's all, the whole subject is very demonic. Because people have legitimate experiences. And, you know, they use the blanket term aliens, but a lot of it is very demonic.
Yeah, I haven't really looked into too many, like, actual stories. My aunts, I think, all saw a UFO. Like in the Bay Area.
Like in the sky, like
in the sky.
like lights or like
I think it's like lights and stuff. But that's pretty much my experience with it. So, I don't know. I think most of it's hoopla, but that's just
probably.
me.
But you know, it's interesting because a lot of people do have experiences that they know happened, whether their perception of it is a little off or not. They experienced something, and so they will latch on to whatever they feel like fits the most, which sometimes is, you know, aliens.
Yeah. It's also interesting, like, have you ever looked into when UFOs sightings, like, exploded and like started? So there is almost like zero UFO sightings before they aired War of the Worlds, a reading of it on the radio.
I know what you're talking
and didn't
about.
tell people it was a book. So
people thought it was real.
They just started reading it because the book is kind of like or it's not a book. I guess it's
it was like a
screenplay
dramatization, right?
Whatever, yeah. But they have, and so people thought it was real because they didn't make it clear that it was on purpose. I imagine too that it wasn't a
Maybe
real
that
like,
was part
news
of
story
it,
and stuff.
Hype it up a little bit.
Yeah, and ever since then, people's imaginations have been stirred. by
I
the
think
idea of aliens.
it really affected like our psyche as a culture, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And to go even more into that, the show Ancient Aliens, I think, has done a similar thing, but over time. Because it's like, you can't mention aliens now, usually, without someone bringing up Ancient Aliens.
Well, yeah, because everything on that show was like, we can't explain this. Aliens.
Yeah.
We can't explain how the pyramids were built. Aliens. It's like, what?
It's wild.
Yeah.
I would not recommend watching it.
No.
No.
I don't think I think I've
Even-
only seen like one episode probably.
Honestly, even the strongest Christian, I wouldn't recommend watching it because it's all just people musing, like just coming up with stuff. None of it is based in any truth.
Mm. It's just conjecture,
Yeah.
like without any sort of evidence.
Yeah, and they, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the show. I haven't seen a whole bunch of it, but the stuff I have seen, they claim so much is fact when it's not.
Yeah.
It's more for entertainment, and it's not beneficial entertainment.
Yeah. I would lump like ghosts in the same category too as alien encounters, I would say.
Yeah. It's interesting because a lot of people who have claimed to have alien encounters, they say that they're, what's the word? Their pre-understanding before the encounter, or their presumption before all of these encounters is that aliens exist.
Yeah.
So it's hard to find someone who's like, aliens absolutely don't exist, and then they have an alien encounter. And to me, that, in my mind, would just indicate the demonic working with what they've got type of thing.
Yeah. I don't really know why they'd show their hand either in that, like,
well, absolutely they're not going to.
no, like why show you something visually? Like, if it is demonic, and normally you don't see the demonic at work, right? Because they do their work hidden from our eyes. Why are they allowed to show you some grand vision or scary vision? You know what I mean? And it's all fear, I feel like. It's all derived
and it's
from
a
fear.
lot of anti-Christian messaging. So if you are an unbeliever, right, who starts with an understanding, or not an understanding, but you assume that aliens exist,
Mm-hmm.
and now you have a first-hand encounter with one, now you're just confirmed in that in your own mind.
Yeah.
That like, oh, I knew these higher beings had all of this knowledge and power, and they came to me with more special knowledge. And none of that's going to be about Christ and what he did for you on the cross. You know what I'm saying? It's all going to be pointing you away to possibly lies that you had been believing already for quite some time.
Yeah.
It's all very deceptive. And this, I mean, this is just what I've heard from the stories that I've read. I can't speak for every alien encounter because there's a lot of them.
Yeah, super weird. I don't know. I don't know what to think.
A lot of
all
it's,
that.
I would classify it as spiritual warfare.
I'm curious how many encounters have happened during the pandemic, where people's minds have been on other things other than aliens. I wonder if there's a massive decline in like the average.
I don't know.
That'd be
I wonder if
interesting to
there's
look at.
like stats on that.
I assume there would be, just like UFO sightings. You could probably go off of. I don't know about like
A lot of
abductions or
people.
whatever.
Well, I guess there's a difference between an abduction and just an encounter, right?
Well, yeah.
Because an abduction, you're being taken away.
Yeah, or you just
somewhere.
lose track of time for a long time, and that's how you justify
And
it.
then you like
Or
recover
not
memories
justify it, but
through
whatever.
hypnosis therapy or something, which
Yeah.
already sounds sketchy.
Yeah.
But I had a thought and it lost me.
Aliens.
But I was just gonna say, like, everyone has like their own assumptions about things, you know. And so the demonic's goal is just to either confirm you in that if it's a lie, or draw you away from the truth.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how much aliens play a role in that. This idea that there's life, you know, like life forms that are intelligent like us.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just such a vast topic.
Yeah, it's interesting, like, how, you know, there's several schools of thought, right, where they're like, oh, there's beings that are advanced, but they're far away. Or maybe everyone's at the same point right now, and they can only, like, kind of explore their solar system or whatever. There's also another thought, and I forget what the name of it is, but it's essentially like we developed later than the rest, and actually all the other civilizations are already dead and they collapsed on themselves, which is our inevitable fate as well, which sounds very close to what Gnosticism or whatever, where it's like, oh, it collapses in fire and then evolution starts all over again.
That reminds me of this one movie called Knowing with Nicolas Cage. Have you ever seen it?
No.
It's like at the very end, the aliens come and they pick like one boy and one girl to like restart humanity because all of the civilization collapses.
And then they destroy everyone else, right?
I don't know if they personally destroy them.
Or the Earth
Maybe
destroys
they do.
them or something.
It's been a while since I've seen it. But I remembered my thought that I was going to say. It's interesting how closely correlated drugs are to alien encounters.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people will do like the whole DMT thing, ayahuasca, whatever you want to call it, and they'll claim to interact with these beings of light or whatever they say they are. And I don't know, all I'm gonna say is pharmakia. There's a reason why the Bible says not to, you know, indulge yourself in those kind of activities.
Well,
Might
it says
be
to be
fun
of sober
or attractive.
mind, right?
Well, yeah, but there also seems to be some sort of connection there that is very harmful.
Yeah.
Not just in a physical sense, but in a spiritual sense.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Medium or whatever it was.
Oh, that the lady with the hair? Is that who you're talking about?
The lady with the hair.
Okay, never mind.
In the Bible, Saul goes to see her because he needs to speak with Samuel, and Samuel had died. And Samuel actually comes up from whatever conjuring this medium does or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And she freaks out.
Because she was expecting her familiar spirit to show up.
Either her familiar or something actually happened. And Samuel, because Samuel legit came up and talked to Saul.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like freaking out because she knew it was Saul.
Mm-hmm.
And Saul had just killed like a bunch of mediums, I guess, earlier in that passage.
Oh,
but
did he?
Yeah, and she just escaped. And he told her that he wouldn't kill her. But anyways, so like, it's crazy to me that the Bible literally confirms through that story and through, what's that other story where the guy's like, put a curse on these people, and he's like, okay. And he talks to Yahweh, and Yahweh's like, nope, you'll speak a blessing on them. And he's like, okay.
I know exactly what you're talking about,
can't
but I
remember
cannot
his
remember
name.
the names.
But like he literally communicated with other things, you know. So it's not as if.
Well, and it's funny because we think that all this stuff is so in
It's
the Bible
fake.
or it's like antiquated.
Yeah.
Like they just didn't understand science. And yet in the same breath, we'll go on a DMT trip and be like, "Oh, I just met these beings of light that just gave me so much insightful wisdom." And it's like you are literally, it's the re-enchantment of paganism.
Yeah.
Like it's just repackaged. It is what it is.
Which, if you talk to
which
a
is
lot
how
of,
it's always been.
if you talk to a lot of people, is actually making a resurgence more so now than ever.
Yes.
Because people aren't happy with what, you know, the answers that science or their job or what their purpose is not
and
there.
they're
and so
not
seeking,
satisfied with just materialism or nihilism. Yeah. Some people are, but I would say the good majority of people aren't. They know that there's a spiritual sense to our being.
They'll at least say so. I don't know how their lives reflect what they say. You know what I mean? Because I feel like a lot of people in our high school, would be like, oh, you know, I believe there's a God, but then just did whatever they wanted to do anyways.
Yeah, but didn't want to know him.
Well, not to that they didn't want to know him, but they'd rather just make him up in their own minds for how they wanted him to be. So it's almost like they replaced him with something false, you know, and whether that legitimately was something hiding, you know, behind the curtain, pulling the strings for them to become that way, or whatever, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
Because I think
it's a both and type of situation. Yeah. Because our hearts, even if the demonic was not there, our hearts would lead us astray just as easily.
Yeah.
You know, from the truth, because they're deceitfully wicked because of our sin nature. But the demonic, because it does exist, it definitely does play a role in that too.
Mm-hmm. Well, it stands to reason too. There's interesting implications of where we think we're at in Revelation as well, because there's the 1,000-year reign, right, where Satan is locked in a pit, and it's not. And I've read several commentaries. It's not as if his influence is not still alive and well in the world, but that he's severely reduced in his power during this time. So if we are in this time, which I think if you have the mill position or the post mill, is that the other one?
You know, Ryan, there once upon a time,
whatever
I thought
position.
I knew all of this stuff, but now...
Basically, a couple of the positions seem to think that, you know, we're in this millennium time waiting for Christ to return. And the thought is that he has put the nations under his feet and he's ruling them with a rod of iron now, because he conquered all when he died on the cross, right?
Right.
So whatever positions take that position.
That'd be my position.
Sure.
whatever
positions take that position would say that we are in the church age, which is a millennium, right? Hold on. I'm going to cough. And cough. Satan is being restrained for the growing and the planting of Christ's kingdom now. That is going to the ends of the earth.
So what role does the demonic have during that?
Yeah, so
I don't know.
It stands to... It's interesting to think about how much of this mysticism, right, are is actually there, because we've seen actual examples of it happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how much of it is actually just us conjuring it up in our minds. Like, if it takes a DMT trip to get there now, when they could find just a medium who was sober and could figure this out themselves, you know what I mean?
How much is it actually being restrained?
Well, and how hard do you have to go looking for it to find it? Whereas I imagine back then you didn't have to go look very far to find whatever you wanted to find.
You bring up a really good point. I don't know is my answer to that question, but I have a feeling that yes, it is a lot harder to get the legitimate thing when you're going to look for that.
Yeah.
Because like you're saying, think of all these people who pay all this money to go on these trips. I forget what they're called, but they're just these little ayahuasca escapades. Yeah. And you have to do all this ritual, and you need like a shaman there, and it's just this whole demonic
to make
thing.
Sure, hopefully you don't die.
Well, I don't even know if that's their priority, but it's just to manage the situation.
Because they're guiding you through, like, they're guiding your spirit. Like, that's the whole point of why they're there.
Oh, sure.
But anyways.
But yeah, it is, I think, a lot harder. I mean, that's God's grace, of course. It is harder for us to do that. And, you know, I used to be into, like, witchcraft and stuff. And it's funny because we talk about aliens and demons like they're the same thing, because I am assuming that they're the same thing.
Same ballpark, yeah.
Same ballpark. I mean, but when I got into witchcraft, I was definitely protected, but I had some legitimate experiences that were demonic. And I wouldn't call them alien because, again, like I was saying, I feel like they do work with your presupposition of if they're real or not. And I didn't necessarily believe in aliens, so they didn't necessarily appear as aliens. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the whole purpose is, again, to steer you away from Christ or to incite fear.
And that's what I think a lot of these, like, conspiracy theories are too. It's all fear.
Oh, yes.
And that's what's crazy, because, like, we have a God who conquered everything, even death. And, you know, we sit here and we can find the smallest thing to be fearful about, and that we wrap our lives around, because our water's not triple filtered.
Okay, I was gonna say, specifically, what are you referring to? Like stuff like that.
Just so, like, I don't know. You want to talk about Wi-Fi? Talk about smart meters, electronics. You know, just anything. Big pharma, like. It is what it is, you know, and there's no changing where that cell tower is that's radiating everything right now. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter whether or not you think it gives you cancer or not. What are you doing in your life right now in reaction to that? Are you living for Christ, or are you living in fear?
You bring up something really important, and I really hope that I'm going to articulate this the right way. I agree with you. It's not that with all these conspiracy theories about what can harm you, it's not that it doesn't matter that people are potentially being harmed. It matters when people are hurt. We care about people. We care about their health and their lives. However, is the obsession of these things trumping your commitment to Christ and to spreading the gospel? Because when you go online, or at least in my experience, when you go online, there's a lot of people who say flat earthers, they equate somehow this idea of the earth really being flat as that's the truth of God that we need to be sharing.
Yeah, that's the
And
end
I'm
all
like,
be all of the
yeah,
truth
and
of what
it's
we
like
need to know.
you have a false gospel on your hands.
Mhm.
The shape of the earth is not the gospel. That's not the
No.
message that people need to hear. You know?
Nope.
And back to like the things that are potentially harming people. That is, yes, a tragedy, possibly, if it's even true. But that's a symptom of a greater evil and a greater need that people have. They need new life in Christ. All of these things, you know, big pharma, whatever. What's your solution in that? Is it to raise awareness?
It's
Is
definitely
it to...
not going to do anything from a keyboard.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it's like wrong for people to, you know, look for information. But there's a point that can easily, you can cross a line, and now all of a sudden you're in a false gospel. You know what I'm saying? When that becomes your mission.
Yeah.
Is I'm going to tell everyone about this thing, and
not the gospel.
Christ is just kind of on the side. We went to an interesting place, Ryan.
Sorry.
No, I'm glad you brought us there. I apparently had a lot to say about that. But yeah, aliens too. People love to fixate on all of this stuff. And it's not, if it's not Christ, it's useless.
Yeah. It's useless because it provides you no answers. It, for many people, instills fear. And
well, what is your job as a follower of Christ?
Yeah.
Is it to give people fear, or is it to give them hope?
Yeah.
You know? I mean,
Yeah.
fear of God, but that's another subject.
Yeah. And it's not to say that exploration and like building things and learning new things is not we're not attacking, you know, people who are going into the new frontier. The last frontier is space, you know what I mean? And searching for things. I think that's a noble
all that's
task.
super cool.
But
and it can be God glorifying in a way, because you are exploring what he has made.
You can look at, you know, the guys that went to the moon even. That was amazing. They're exploring a creation, you know, something that had never been explored by man, something God had created. He'd put in the sky to govern the night, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
It is. Can I take like a really quick tangent?
Yeah.
Do you think there's going to be planets in the new heaven and the new earth that we get to explore?
Oh, dude. All right, so wait. Let me explain Jessica's theory here. I'll explain it for her. Keep it short. All right. So Jessica thinks that like
it's going to be like no man's land.
Not only were we supposed to like spread Eden to like the ends of the earth, right? In the creation story, you were supposed to make the rest of the earth like Eden. But she thinks that like once that's done, we would go to the next planet and like terraform the next planet. I mean, which I think is super.
I'm not hard.
I know,
set on
but
that,
it's a super interesting idea.
It's a what if.
It's like, so when we're done with this planet, right? I mean, God made all these other planets, this vast universe to explore.
And what's outside our universe?
Yeah.
Like
our galaxy, whatever. The universe is the whole thing.
Oh. Well, what's outside our galaxy? The rest of the universe.
Yeah, and so like, you know, to explore and to
is that included?
All the crazy things that have been observed just with, you know, telescopes and the different types of planets and what they're made of, and it's infinite, you know.
Yeah. I have a feeling this is just based on my feelings, obviously, but I'm pretty sure the cultural mandate would extend beyond the earth.
I don't know.
But I don't know. It's not a hill I'll die on, for sure.
I guess we won't know till later.
No.
We'll check back in.
We'll find out.
Yeah. We'll let you guys know. Just get a medium that actually works.
No, don't consult a medium. Don't do it.
I'm just kidding. Definitely don't do that.
Under no circumstances should you ever do that.
I have not, what is that? A do not resuscitate. I have a do not mediate. Do not remediate. Or whatever.
No, when you said the medium, there was this show on TLC. I'm pretty sure it was called The Medium, and it was this lady with like super teased poofy hair, and she claimed to be a medium, and she would like just go to people and she'd be like, "Oh, I hear."
Did you ever go to that palm reader?
No, I've never been to a palm reader.
You didn't go? I remember there was one like driving down the highway.
So
and you'd always be like,
I remember I was driving a friend home once. And yeah, we passed by the psychic place.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was unconverted at the time, but I remember her saying, "Oh, I get such great vibes from that place." And I remember thinking, that literally looks like the doorway to hell. Like, I'm sorry, I do not share that sentiment. I don't know. Just even back then, I was like, that's no. But at the same time, the whole hypocrisy of it all is I wouldn't go into a psychic place, but I would do tarot in my own home.
Yeah.
Like, how hypocritical. Like, it's the same. I don't know where my mind was, but it's pretty illogical.
Yeah.
But, it's strange.
That's interesting.
Who can understand the ways of man?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting though, all this.
But yeah,
aliens
in the sense that we're thinking of them when we think like green people. Not real. Sorry. But there is a possibility that there's life out there somewhere. But it's just not going to be anything like that resembles human. Whatever it is, it will not be made in the image of God. Therefore, it will not be human.
Interesting. So, do you think that if they did find life in that form on another planet, that it would have negative implications on the Bible?
If you found an actual human or a humanoid creature, like what specifically are you finding in this theoretical?
I don't know. You find microbes on Mars.
In no way
because
threatens.
most people would say, not most people, a lot of people in the scientific community would be like, well, that disproves, among everything else that they claim disproves the Bible, that would also disprove the Bible.
That in no way threatens anything that the Bible says.
What if they found humans on another planet? You
know what I would say?
What?
How did a human get there? That's the question you need to be asking. Not,
well, is
the Bible true?
You see, Jessica,
how did a human get on this planet?
There was this ice age that actually connected all the planets with ice, and they just walked across.
Yeah.
It's true.
But like in the sense of like green people who are intelligent, if somehow, for whatever reason, we did find something like that, still
humanoids
wouldn't threaten my faith. You know why?
Why?
That's still not a human. It's still not made in the image of God. It's just another creature. I mean, think about all the creatures God has made. He's made some pretty amazing, crazy things.
Super crazy.
Some animals are extremely intelligent. You know? I mean, look at like primates or like dolphins or stuff. And if we found just an extremely intelligent creature on another planet, I'd be like, cool, you were made by God.
Interesting. I don't think we
all of
find
this is
anything.
Theoretical anyway.
Yeah, I don't think we
I
find
highly
anything.
doubt we're ever going to be in that situation.
But that's just me.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we're ever going to be in that, situation. But if we did, if it happened tomorrow, I'd be just fine,
Be chilling.
be chilling. It would be weird,
Yeah.
but
We have to reread Genesis again.
no.
Be like,
Well,
for the 18th time, like this month, and be like, interesting.
You're not gonna find aliens in Genesis.
Some people say you can if you look hard enough.
I know what I was as I was saying that sentence, I realized how controversial it was going to be.
So look really hard. Really, really hard.
In between the lines.
Just like the flat earth.
Oh,
Read
man.
that in there too, I'm sure. But
That brings up a good point, though, of what Genesis is. It's not a book that is going to explain all of the intricacies of the universe that God made. It's a book about God and his purpose for humanity and creation and what he did in setting aside a people for himself.
yes.
Is that a good summary?
It's not a technical manual.
No, it's not a science textbook.
However, it could be said that it is purposeful in its wording.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Of how it says how long and on what days what happened.
Yes.
It's very direct in that manner. So, but it's definitely not a hill to die on in that sense.
No.
But I think if people treated Genesis the way they treat the rest of the Bible, you could run into some issues.
What do you mean?
So people, like if you're reading the flat earth into Genesis, what could you read into anything else?
You could read anything into Genesis. You could read anything into any part of the Bible if you tried hard enough. If
you're not actually having what's the word for that? If you're not reading it from like an actual place of submission to the text.
Right.
I would say. Then you run into issues. As soon as you're trying to push your own narrative on it, it's no longer, I don't know, it's just no longer profitable, I guess.
Oh, yeah. I'd agree with that.
It reminds me of that movie, The Book of Eli.
It's been a long time since I've seen that
So,
movie.
like, the antagonist, he wants the book, which is the Bible, because he wants to use it so he can basically twist the words and make more people follow him, because he believes there's power in the words. And so he would, just pick and choose whatever he needed to get the people to do what he said. And he would just say all the powers in the book or whatever.
Oh, boy.
But then Eli, murders a bunch of people and then, makes it to this boat. And he has the whole thing memorized so they can print it on their printing press. I just spoiled the whole movie for everyone.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Who was it that played Denzel Washington?
Denzel, yeah.
Apparently he's a Christian. Side note. Yeah.
That's what he
Weird
claims,
movie.
I do enjoy the movie. It's one of those, I don't know. It's weird, for sure.
I didn't really enjoy it. Maybe it's because my brain was just too tiny to understand what was going on.
I haven't watched it recently. I'm curious if I would still enjoy it or not, or if
My
I would just be
guess-
like,
You want to know my
Oh, weird.
guess?
what?
I don't think you would like it anymore.
Probably not.
But I don't know. I mean, hey, we should watch it sometime just to see.
Yes, and all my spare time.
Yeah. Oh, I had one more question
One question.
regarding aliens.
Aliens.
Oh, we already answered it. Never mind.
Oh,
It
we
was
did?
what would you do if you found out aliens existed?
Oh. Jump the gun.
Yeah.
It's too late.
Well, those are like the standard questions, that you always have to ask when you talk about aliens is, do they exist? What would you do if they exist?
Oh, what would I do if they existed? I know what happens in most movies. They shoot at us, and then we shoot back. Like on Independence Day.
Didn't they remake that?
I thought it was just a sequel.
Oh, was it a sequel?
I haven't seen it, no.
I haven't seen it. We are gonna have.
But they
to
didn't.
Watch
I
it.
don't think they could afford Will Smith anymore.
Oh man.
So it's a different.
Bunch of B-list actors. No.
I don't know if they're B-list, but they're not. It's not the same like characters or whatever. Well, hopefully it's not. That'd be kind of weird if they were trying to make it the same characters with all new actors. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's so funny, like this fascination that we have with the concept of extraterrestrial life.
well, it's born out of like, sci-fi and like just everything. It's like everything that science kind of hinges on is they need that as validation too. So like evolution hinges on the fact that this happens outside of this planet as well, right? To be proven. Like if it's a natural thing that happens, then it should happen in other places. And if it doesn't, then it begs
Then
the
it's
question,
purposeful.
why is
There's
it purposefully
intention
happening
behind it,
here?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I learned all about that in my science class.
Well, there's intentionality behind all of life. It's pretty hard to miss.
And yet he's coughing again.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. And yet we it's screaming in our face, but we don't see it because we don't want to see it.
Yeah.
Romans 1 type
Basically,
of thing.
yeah.
Our hearts become darkened because the truth is we love sin and we don't want a God that's going to hold us accountable. And so we latch on to something, whether it's, this or that, science, whatever. Aliens. And that, yeah, it just keeps us comfy.
Yep. That's all I have to say about that.
Oh my gosh. It's interesting how every culture has myths about stuff. And this idea of aliens is kind of, I don't know, just our culture's, like, you're allowed to believe in aliens in our culture. You know what I mean?
Are you?
Yeah, I would
I
say
don't
so.
think so.
Have you seen what's going on with Demi Lovato right now?
I mean, actors and actresses and singers
Are
or
they
whatever.
not part of?
No,
they're definitely a
they're
big part of our culture.
A minority.
They influence a lot of young, impressionable people.
I don't think they influence as much as you think they do. I think it's sensationalized. Who cares what Demi Lovato actually thinks, other than like 16-year-olds? Yeah,
a bunch of little girls and young people do.
But no one else does.
Well, those young people are still people, though.
Yes, I'm
You
not.
know what I'm
I'm not
saying?
arguing that.
Okay.
What I'm arguing
But
is
they are being impacted a lot by pop culture. And in pop culture, it's acceptable to say, "Oh, aliens are real." I think Demi Lovato.
I guess it's like even celebrated.
Yeah.
Like look at like, I don't, you could take this with a grain of salt whether you think they're Christians or not, but everyone's always like, "Oh, what if someone, really influential just became a Christian?" Well, there's Chris Pratt, there's Justin Bieber, there's Kanye West, there's Denzel Washington, and you know what? No one cares. Still no one cares.
What do you mean no one cares?
Like, none of the secular world
cares.
You're
saying their influence.
Yeah, their influence means nothing to people.
Yeah, because it's not their influence that's
interesting
going to make an impact.
A people could get literally delivered out of Egypt, see the freaking sea parted by wind, and still be like, "Nah, we don't actually believe in that God. We'd rather serve our own gods." That's how deceitful the heart is. You know what I mean? Everyone's like, seeing's believing. Literally can see miracles and still contort you into believing or worshiping an idol. Yeah,
there's a million things I could say right now because you just covered a lot of ground. But my first thought was, the most famous person, the most well-liked person in pop culture in the world could become a Christian tomorrow, and the only thing that would convert other people is the power of God. Mm-hmm. It would not be that person's influence that would create more Christians.
Well, because people only care about influence when they agree with you is the big thing there.
And the gospel is massively unattractive to the world. Yeah, so even people with, quote, power, they don't actually have power when it comes to people's hearts. Turning from really sin to God. Yeah. I mean, God could use them, and he often does use people, his people. But, and then, oh gosh, my next thought. You covered a lot of ground.
Sorry.
Oh, I have a question. Was it the wind that parted the sea? Is that in there? Yes. I haven't read that in a while.
Yeah, literally the wind.
Not just on its own, you're saying? Because he raised his staff.
Did he? Or are you watching?
Oh no, is this one of those things where this has happened to me so many times.
I don't know specifically, but it literally says what part of the water was a strong wind from two different directions.
Okay, because this happens to me all the time when I've watched like cartoons of Bible stories.
I don't know.
And they will add something that's not there in the Bible, and I'll just assume it's in the Bible.
I don't remember specifically what his actions were, but it was the wind. Mm-hmm. If you want to say his magic staff,
not
helped.
Magic. I would not.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. But God commanded the wind.
Yeah.
To split the sea.
The wind was the means by which God used. That's interesting. I had
there are a couple times in the Bible actually that happens. Did you know that?
That he parts the sea. Mm-hmm. Yes, I knew that.
It's pretty crazy.
But what I was saying about aliens, though, is that it's so acceptable to believe in aliens in our culture. But if you were like, "Oh, I believe in Mothman," or I believe in, I don't know, maybe nowadays we're kind of all over the place. But there's all of these other things, these myths, these mythological creatures.
Well, that's what we're going back to. Truth
where
is
we're
not...
like, oh, if you believe in that, you're kind of dumb. But aliens, oh, you're probably onto something. Like, it's acceptable in our culture. But it's, what I'm trying to say is it's all kind of ultimately the same thing. It's all, like you were saying.
Yeah, I think it's a stepping stone, right, towards this new revival in paganism in a sense where it's more actually not just in things, material things, where it's actually in spiritual things, because people are tired of material things, you know, and they're not fulfilling. So we're moving back in this postmodern era, back
into ancient,
very
aliens. Old
ancient
things.
aliens.
Ancient
yes.
aliens.
No, but we're moving back to what is it? Mysticism.
Yes.
Which a lot of people have talked about, I think, that we watch. But essentially, you know, people, and it's also wrapped in this idea that truth is subjective and not objective. Like, it's your truth. You know what I mean?
How explain to me how exactly that pertains.
So it pertains because
to the subject of aliens. You
believing in aliens might be culturally accepted right now. But those fringe things are becoming more and more accepted because of the small stepping stones that we're taking with, you know, aliens. And
so it's like a snowball.
So people are less concerned with truth now, and they're more concerned with
just exploring the possibilities.
Yeah, your truth is yours.
Instead of discovering what actually
is. It's all about feeling. So if you read but if you go back in time a bit, you look at writers like Greek, I forget what century. I took a history class and it's all gone.
Instantly gone.
But basically we were hyper in the modern era. We're hyper focused on the tangible, right? What we can learn from the scientific method, what we can touch, feel, see, and study. And that's leaving behind the spiritual. So we would say that we're post-religious at this point. And I think the argument is that that's not fulfilling. And so people again are delving back into the spirituality of their consciousness, or however they're going to do it. And that does degrade objective truth, because if you claim to believe in the flying spaghetti monster and you have nothing to show for it, then that's your truth. And our society is working on being able to accept that in a lot of different ways, I would say.
Two things.
While being hostile to religious sects of people that have been around for a long time.
Okay, 3 things. I love that you used the flying spaghetti monster analysis in that way.
Yes.
Just a side note. The next thing that I was thinking of when you said that was, you know, this concept of aliens. If someone claims to have an alien experience, you can't say, oh, that's true for you. Either that happened or it didn't, objectively. But we're losing our ability in our culture to say those things.
Yes.
Like you're saying. Either an alien did visit you or it didn't, objectively.
And I don't know if
there
that's
is
just
truth.
Here or if that's all over the world.
Like in America?
Yeah, I think definitely it's an American thing. It's how
I think
everything
America's
makes me feel.
Probably at the forefront of it, but it does seem like
maybe
the world, you know.
Yeah. Oh well.
My 2 brain cells that I have left are just struggling to comprehend.
Yeah. Well,
they're struggling to form words. So late.
Do you want to end it there then?
Yes. I am pretty satisfied with everything we've said.
Yes.
Oh, wait.
Oh, here's our brain cells again.
Working hard. I don't know. I'm not satisfied with leaving it here. Give me something true. Something hopeful. Because you know what we've been talking about when we correct.
There's only one alien
when we
you need to be worried about.
Please don't say what I think you're going to say. Don't even go there. Stop. Don't even finish that sentence.
Okay.
When we criticize and critique things, I don't want us to just leave it at that. I want us to also give the truth. Okay. Give Christ. Give that hope that we have in Christ.
Yeah, like
so
I said,
there's
away, only
Ryan.
one alien
Ryan,
you need to be worried about.
Stop.
What alien do you think that is?
That is such a pet peeve of mine.
What?
When people call Jesus an alien.
I wasn't going to call Jesus an alien.
Okay, good. Because there is a
Jesus
huge
is a man.
group of people who claim that. Isn't that weird?
I was going to say Yahweh's an alien.
Ryan.
I don't know if that's worse.
That's exactly as bad as
I mean, he fits
Jesus
the definition.
No. God
is he not?
Yahweh is God.
Yes.
Jesus is both man and both God, fully and completely. And the Spirit is God.
But just the Spirit.
And together, all three persons of the Godhead have made a way for us to be saved. We don't have to go looking to aliens, to drugs that give us all of these crazy spiritual experiences. We don't have to go to any of that to find fulfillment. We were made in the image of God to be fulfilled in God. And God made a way for us to be reconciled to him through Christ.
Yes.
Because our problem really is that we have evil hearts, like you were saying.
Well, we have a God complex.
We want to be God.
Yeah, we want to be God.
Just the same thing that Adam and Eve wanted in the garden.
Yeah.
And yeah, so the searching that often accompanies the subject of aliens, the spiritual longing and searching, it won't be satisfied until you look to Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
He is what your soul is longing for. And I'm speaking to my former self when I say that. And, you know, my interest in aliens and witchcraft and the demonic, I needed Jesus. And I'm so grateful that he did give himself for me and, you know, brought me to himself. And now I don't long for those things anymore.
Yay.
Yay. So there's the hope. There's the hope in all of this. But aliens, it's a great topic, but never make it an obsession.
Well, yeah.
Because a lot of people do. I definitely did, kind of at some points.
I think your definition of obsession is also a little different.
Oh, maybe. Maybe it's another word that I use that you don't like.
You had an interest in it. It's not the same thing as an obsession.
Interest, okay.
But
yeah, thank you guys for listening. And this was a fun episode for me. I know it was a little all over the place, but I like this topic.
Yeah.
I'm always ready to talk about aliens.
Late. I'm so tired.
It's so late. But we will see you guys in the next episode.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Bye.